Hello and welcome, fellow Wasteland survivors. It's your boy Dean. Thanks for stopping in, hanging out with me, because over the last couple of weeks I've made some clips of one of my latest builds in Fallout 76, and I'd like to share it with you. So if you're ready to see a how I build and tips and tricks video, then take some rad away, load that gun, and let's get started. This camp's location is in the northernmost part of the Cranberry Bog. I chose this location for a couple of reasons. One, I needed acid, so it has an acid location here. Also, there is a fissure site right beside us, and about every 15 minutes I'll be able to farm me some XP from the Scorch Beast that lives there. Alright, first thing I'm going to want to do is enclose our extractor and water inside of a building. We are in enemy territory, and I don't want it destroyed every 5 minutes. So putting it inside of a building is our best option. Now, I'm not going to show how I did this because we've seen this before in other videos. And in case you missed it, there's a link for it flashing on the screen right now. Okay, we've got our extractor and our water set up, ready to go. Let's go ahead and put our foundations in. Because of the way that we placed our foundations, our extractor and water, we should be able to put them all in without any problem. Well, that looks pretty good. Let's put up some walls and more foundations. Now, I've decided to put a few extra foundations up and around the outside of our build. I'm going to do this for two different reasons. One, it will help protect our building a little bit better from attackers. Two, it'll allow me to hide the fusion core generator underneath of these foundations. Now, if you haven't seen this or you're curious about how I did it, then once again, here's another link to a video where you can go and check that out. And you will find this at the end of that video. Now, we can't put our foundations all the way around because of those stairs coming off the extractor. But if we change our walls into doors, we can move the foundation out and over them. Then all we have to do is change our doors back into walls. Now, I'm not really for sure what I'm going to do with this area. Maybe we'll put the camp building system thingy majigger right here. I don't know. We'll figure out something with it. Now, the next thing I'm going to work on is the power. We're going to want to connect it to our fusion core generator. And then we're going to want to glitch the wire so that we can take it inside of the build. So we'll move the wall one time. The wire's now glitched. We'll put it down inside of our build where it goes. And now all we have to do is connect everything up that's inside of our little room. At this point in time, a little bit of our build is completed. We've got another building on top of our extractors. As you can see, they don't actually touch the floor and the ceiling. I used containers to fill up the gap in between them. And we'll see here in a minute why there is a gap between these two buildings. There's our fusion core generator. And I did come up with something pretty cool right here, and we did put our camp there. By now you've probably noticed this particular foundation, the one that has the stair snap to it, that it's a different height compared to all the other foundations in the build. The reason is it's as tall as the foundation we were just standing on is. That foundation we was just standing on is the center of our glass build, and everything needs to match up to this particular center foundation, including this stairway coming off of our build. Once I snap this door in, I now have 4 doors in our 4 points around the center of this foundation that I'm standing on. Now all we need to do is put the walls or doors in between the ones we've already put in. So to do that, I'll find the center of this foundation and highlight the other foundation that is connected to our door. Once I do that, I can move it right or left. It really doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, it might not hurt to put another foundation down on the door and then move one to each side of the doorway, since you're already in the prime or sweet position to move that foundation. Now, for best results, I would do this to the other side as well, and then place in the middle. If you try to do it from one point all the way around, you could really get off a long ways without realizing it. So what I do is I do one side of one door, and then the opposite side of the other door, and then all I have to do is put one right in the center. It makes it super quick and super easy to put these in. Once again, I'll find the center of the middle block that we're standing on, highlight our foundation, and then move it over in between our 2 walls. Even though we didn't really move all that much when we were putting this piece in, it still isn't going to be perfect, as we can see right there. So we're going to need to spin this foundation just a little bit and readjust this. Now keep this in mind, ladies and gentlemen, you may even have to do this with the side walls on each side of this foundation. But if you kind of do it like how I just did, it should line up pretty good for you if you're doing it with this many walls. Alright, let's see this one more time before we move on. Alright, our build looks pretty good. If we were building this ground level, we'd already be almost done. That really does look good. but we need to take it up 2 stories above our head. Now, as we all know, including me, that we can only build about 4 stories high. When I first built that, which is these clips that we're seeing right now, I actually built it 4 stories tall. Then by the time I went to add in the roof, I was out of the build area. So I had to tear it down 1 story to what it is right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to see those original clips, but we're going 1 story higher than what we actually need to go. So what we're doing is we're using our walls or our doors that we've just put in as markers for the foundation to snap ladders onto. Once we can snap our ladders on and a floor, then we're going to be able to put our wall or our doorway on. Now, keep this in mind. Doesn't matter how high or tall you're building your structure, the steps are exactly the same way. The only difference is how many ladders you're going to put on to get to the height that you want your build to be. Now, I showed this segment in real time, so that way that you ladies and gentlemen could see that building something like this really doesn't take all that much time. I have had several people go, oh, this must have took forever. And really, once you've got a basic idea down, it doesn't take all that long to execute it. Here I've already got the floors in underneath of our walls and everything is really looking good. We do have these weird gaps between our floor and the wall, but I've got an idea to help frame them in, and we're going to do that a little later in the video. Alright, now this next part I've already put in some of the roofs or the ceiling. I had to put in a ladder and some floors so that way I could get up here easily. I've also offset these roofs every other one because we can't put them in side by side. Objects will be colliding. Also, if you notice, I've set them in the offset side of our entrance, or I should say our walls that were the plus. The reason is because those can be built in all at one time. So let's just do these odd ones first. So the first thing we're going to want to do is take our flame trap and destroy every one of these roofs. Now that we have all of our roofs destroyed or broken, we can take other roofs and place them in between the ones that we've already broke. And by doing this, we won't have any collision issues with the new ceilings or roofs that we're putting in. Now this will allow us to fill our entire build-up, and we won't have any gaps or holes where we don't have a roof. Plus, it'll give us a pretty cool look to the glass as well. Alright, the next thing I want to do is place in our flat roofs. And we're going to put the ones in from our like plus points, I guess you could call it. Where, imagine this hole in the center is where our middle foundation was. And then these roofs that I'm putting in are on the sides in the plus position. And you can see how these would all snap together very easily. And we are only left with these gaps on the side where 4 more roofs need to go in. Also, at this point, we can't put a roof in the center because it is being hindered by the stair casing. So we'll have to take our floors and the stair down before we can put a floor or a roof in the middle above it. All right, now to break all of these flat roofs, we're going to need to put our flamethrower on something that gets it up as high as the roof. And one of your flames has got to be able to hit the object that you're trying to break. So depending upon how tall yours are, will determine, what container you're going to need. Okay, now that I have those 4 broken, we can go ahead and put our last 4 roofs back in. Now, I chose to do the side pieces that we were looking at first because the ones that we snapped in, that we're snapping in again, will all snap together. And it just makes it super easy to put these ones in last. So it doesn't really matter which ones you break, it's just this is the way I did it. And now all we have to do is take our floor and our ladder out, and then we can snap our new ceiling or the center ceiling in. Now you could leave this open and do a lot of other things. You could build a spiral staircase going up there. You could put the glass building from the Atom shop up on top. There's a lot that you could do here. But if we come out of work mode where we don't see the destroyed objects, we can really see how this was laid out and put together now. And the only thing that we have to do is go repair our building, and then we can check it out. Now, I really like the way that this looks. The architecture of it really is cool too. It has a whole lot more to it than just if it was a solid roof. So I really do enjoy destroying these objects and putting them together to create a little extra architecture. Now, there are still some gaps or holes in the roof that we didn't fill, and we could. Here's one right here. But we'd have to put a whole nother square roof in to cover that. And, unless they're there, it just isn't going to make any difference. And you can see one there, and around the corner. All right, so we could destroy our roofs and put more in, but I'm not going to do that. Now let's go ahead and fix our floor. Now the idea that I have for fixing the floor is using these rugs. Now this particular rug is from the Atom shop, and you may not have it. But there are other rugs in the inventory that everybody gets that would work here just as good. It's just up to you what you got. And you might choose to use something completely different here. There's a lot of floor-based objects that would really work well here. As a matter of fact, here is a rug from our inventory that everybody gets. You don't get these from Atoms. I think it's a plan that you get from one of the vendors. And now we can fill all of our gaps up with this. Alright, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I hope today's video inspired you or gave you some ideas for your next camp build, and I really do appreciate you for stopping in and hanging out with me today. I look forward to seeing you on the next video and or stream, and just like always, until next time, please stay safe and peace.